Welcome to this week's episode of Your Stock Request for the 2nd of September. Hi, I'm Michael Gable, Managing Director at Fairmont Equities. Your Stock Request is the weekly video where I take your requests and analyse the share price charts. So this week we have Australian Strategic Minerals, Lynas, Goodman Group, Australian Clinical Labs and Arch-TIS. So if you have a request, send it through. Make sure you've signed up to the free newsletter, but if you want our better tips, you'll need to get the Dynamic Investor Report, which comes out every Tuesday. But if you do enjoy these videos, we'd love you to share them on social media or even leave us a review. Our main business is in portfolio management. So if you'd like to open a broking account and have me help you directly, not just in the buying, but in advising you when to sell, then please let me know and I can explain how that service works. And all the advice here, of course, is general only. So we've got the yearly chart here of ASM, obviously very nice trend, and it has been a sustainable trend. We could see it's just been, no crazy moves, just edging higher and consolidates when it needs to. Only recently we've seen it run pretty hard, maybe a little bit too hard here. So we've had this sort of big, sort of high volume sell-off, but the share price is holding in here. As you could see, so that is a positive. I mean, in terms of looking at this trading range here, it'd be nice to see it not just sit in the bottom half of this trading range, but it is holding in. So ultimately, I think if it breaks down from these levels here, just under $11, that's a negative, of course. But while it's holding on here, we may well see something similar to here at the beginning of August, where it had a few days at the bottom of this negative trading range, but then it started to get on with it again. So if we see it sort of settle down here and then start to move up, that's the next buy signal. Okay, Lynas. So we've looked at this one before. So very nice sort of rally here. Sort of negative signs here, then it's settled down. I mean, this is one I got back into here as the share price started to settle down and get moving again. And then it's obviously, during this period, rallied quite nicely. But then we've had this sort of gap down here in the middle of August. So, I mean, this is where I've sold out, because obviously there's a big difference between the down days in this period and this. So as you can see, just big volatility now, very choppy. So I don't think there's any need to rush into it just yet. Again, I'd like to see it sort of settle down, whether it's around here or down here again. But I'd like to see this kind of price action emerge again, just the smaller trading ranges on lower volume. And then that would, I guess, precede the next buy signal. But for the moment, I think it's just a bit too risky. Goodman Group, so off the March lows, we could see just again a very nice sort of sustainable uptrend, just moving on quite nicely, nothing too volatile. But then on the back of the full year results, we could see the volatility increase. So we had this sort of big down day, rally off the lows. So look, it is a little bit more volatile here. It'd be nice to see it settle back down again. Again, smaller trading ranges would be good because they're still quite large, but ultimately, as we could see, it's put in a higher low here, and it's possibly just forming a symmetrical triangle. So I think we're just seeing a consolidation, probably a bit more sideways action will be seen from Goodman Group. And again, if it sort of settles down, breaks the symmetrical triangle, then that's the next buy signal. Okay, AU Clinical Labs. So it's only been listed recently, but looks so far so good with the way it's heading up. I'd say this was probably the most recent buy signal, of course, just the gap up to a new high on good volume. It hasn't followed through, but again, since then it's just gone sideways, sat on top of the old high. Look, I'd be happy to hold it here for the next buy signal. I think as long as it sort of stays within a bit of a range like this, and then pushes higher, then that for me would be the next buy signal. But overall, it still looks still looks good. Okay, in AR9, so as I've mentioned before, a lot of sort of similar stocks in you know, some of these smaller companies have had similar profiles, sort of big rallies, sort of either end of last year, early this year, on big volume, and then they've just sort of eased back on lower volume. So that overall profile is still bullish. Most recently, we've got, there's obviously some resistance at 30 cents as it started to level out. So I think popping through that was the most recent buy signal. So it's rallied, and as we can see, it's come back. So I think as long as it holds 30 cents, you know, that's fine. I wouldn't want to see it break 30, but I think if it holds 30, makes a big move up on good volume, then I'd treat that as the next buy signal. So I suppose it's one to keep an eye on. Okay, well, that's all for this week. If you have a request, send it through. I'll try to cover it next week for you.